right, and I am done. So, I just finished up reading The Bone Ships, which is part of the Tide Child trilogy by R.J. Barker, and I wanted to give you my unedited thoughts upon finishing the book, which was just now. So, I love this book. This is an extremely easy 5 out of 5 for me. Really a perfect 5 out of 5. I can't really find any faults with this book, and I've looked for them. But every single aspect that I rate a book over gets a perfect score for me. This is just a magnificent book and one of the best first entries in a trilogy that I've ever read in my entire life. I just can't get over how amazing this book is. And part of the reason that I can't get over it is because this book was not highly recommended to me. When I look at it on Goodreads, it's rather low scored. And I didn't find it in the traditional ways of having friends recommend it constantly. I found it because I finished up reading the Live Ship Traders trilogy, part of the Realm of the Elderlings, and I loved it. And part of the reason I loved it, I think, outside of the wonderful writing and the amazing characters and all the things that Robin Hobb does amazing, is the basic facts that it was a seafaring kind of pirate fantasy book. And I haven't come across a ton of those before. I mean, I've certainly read nautical books before. I've certainly read fantasy books before, but to see those two blended together in a way that really emphasized both of those was wonderful. And I had that itch that I wanted scratched. And when I've looked online to say, what are books like the Live Ship Traders trilogy, this one keeps getting brought up. And I didn't know anything else about it, but I knew that it was kind of similar to that thing that I wanted. So coming into it, I felt like it would be like, okay, it's got some similar things. I liked it, didn't love it, but, I like the setting and, appreciate the suggestion. But, man, I was blown away by everything this book set out to do. In fact, I think I liked this book more than I liked the first Live Ship Traders trilogy book. And if all of the 3 books are as good as this one, this is going to go down as one of my favorite trilogies of all time. But I won't go that far. We'll see. A lot of books kind of flub it going on. But I am excited because on Goodreads, this is by far the lowest of the 3 books. And they each progressively get a higher score, which is something I want to see. So the story here is awesome. It does take a little time to get into it in true fantasy form. It's not until about a third or half of the way through that for me, the hooks really got in. And I started to really understand the world and really started to get into it. But it starts off in the first, couple pages with this down and out captain of a ship, a dead ship. And these ships are full of like criminals and convicts. And they're already dead according to the government. And they're just, trying to do some work. And they're essentially slaves. But this guy is the captain of the ship, and he is just a drunk, has totally abdicated his job. And this woman comes over and essentially takes the leadership from him. Not somebody from his ship, somebody else. And she is extremely competent. And throughout this book, she is taking this group of horrible sailors and turning them into the cream of the crop. And the main character, it's all seen from this other sailor, the former captain. And he gets turned into her number 2 on the ship. So everything is seen from his perspective. And it's really fun to watch not the really main character of this story and the most important person get the main POV. But they get this mission, and I won't reveal the details of what the mission is, but it involves like a sea dragon. And they have a quest involving this sea dragon. And from that moment forward, it is addicting. And it's hard to get into. And for me, I loved that. The world building is just to die for. And it does this thing that I find that every book that does this captivates me. And it's kind of what I liken to the Malazan way, in that it throws you in the deep end, where they're not going to handhold you and explain what this world is and the terms that people use and the characters. It's going to throw you in, expect that you already know them, even though you don't. And they'll be kind of revealed throughout, not by holding your hand, but just casually explaining things where somebody will be talking and eventually you'll be like, oh, I get it now. I love that. I don't like to be babied as a reader. I want to be treated like I'm smart. I'm not terribly smart, but I want to be treated that way. And I want to figure out the mysteries of this book. And maybe it takes me longer than it would take the average person. But I love that. I love the journey of figuring out this world together with the author. And this book certainly does that. It's got all these crazy terms that are not akin. They're not like terms used. And some books will like rename things that we know. No, these are terms of things that we don't know. There's these like half human, half bird weather mages that have this unique name. There's these like epic sea dragons. There's these ships that are made out of dragon bones, and all the classes of people have their own terms for them, and it's so fun. I mean, the world is so rich. I haven't read the reviews on Goodreads. I've only seen like the main score, but I hope that everybody who reads this book, whether you like it or you don't, appreciates what this author has done in the world building, because it's really second to none. It's so wonderful. And I can't say enough about it. The characters are so well written. Almost like Robin Hobb-esque type characters. And that is something to say, because I've gone on record many times saying I think Robin Hobb is the best character writer, in fiction. And not just fantasy, but across all fiction. And R.J. Barker just nails it. I mean, he tells this compelling character, the main character, who undergoes this amazing growth from start to finish of this book. And you can tell there's a lot of growth left to go. You've got this amazing sea captain who's this tough as nails, but she's got this other side to her, and she undergoes a lot of growth as well. And then you've got this whole cast of, like, they're not exactly pirates, but these other shipmates that are vastly different in the way that they treat the characters, in the way that they are, and their backstories. And it's like a larger crew that you're not going to remember all their names, which I also like. I hate it when books really focus on like 5 or 10 people. No, this book's got a large amount of people, and they're constantly throwing them at you, which you'd expect for a ship that's got 100 to 200 people on it. I mean, it really feels like that. It feels like you're in this world and you're just going on this adventure. This is a fantasy book. There's a lot of fantasy elements, but at its heart, this is an adventure book. The pace is wonderful. I like a slow burn at the beginning, but once it gets going, it hits hard. And it's, adventure set piece after adventure set piece, leading up to an epic conclusion. And it doesn't set you off on a major cliffhanger, but it does set you up really well for wanting that next book so badly. The writing style here is incredible. I've never heard of R.J. Barker before. I certainly do now. I'm definitely going to go read his other books. In fact, I don't even know if R.J.'s a guy. I'm saying that. The R.J.'s that I know are men, but it could very well be a woman. I don't know. I don't know anything about this author. But this author writes like to die for. Their prose is just wonderful. They suck you in. It's got this kind of meandering style, which I love when an author does well, where it's not just like cutting directly to the point. They're telling this amazing depth when they're explaining things so very vividly clear. The action sequences are vivid. I mean, you understand everything that's going on. It's really easy in an action book to get you lost in the moment, in that haze of battle. That the battles feel real, but you also get that sense of like it finishes, and I could tell you everything that happened in that battle, down to a T, and I just love it. So I can't stop talking about how much I love this book. I'm gonna stop here because I don't really have a lot more to say other than go get this book. If you're into nautical books at all, go get this book. If you like if you like the Live Ship Trader books, go get this book. If you like a good fantasy book, go get this book. If you're watching this review, go get this book. It's so good. So that'll wrap it up for me. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.